Hey Cougs, and welcome to the second season of Wazzu on Film. I'm Cody Callanan.
And I'm Olivia Lowry. Joseph and Katie have moved on to bigger and better things in Bollywood, so we're here to take over.
That's right, and we're going to be giving you our opinions on the movies we reviewed this season.
Tonight, we'll be giving you the right opinions on Kung Fu Panda 3 and The Finest Hours.
So stay tuned. So, Kung Fu Panda 3, the third installment of the Kung Fu Panda series, as you might be able to guess from the title. It features Po, once more, voiced by Jack Black, as well as a new bad guy who comes from the spirit realm, and he has mastered the art of Qi. And with this art of Qi, he manages to defeat all of the surrounding Kung Fu masters, and he eventually comes to challenge Po. Now, also within this movie, you get to see Po's real father, and his name is Lee, and he's voiced by Bryan Cranston. With each installment of the Kung Fu Panda movies, you get a moral of the story, some development that Po gets, and this time around, the moral of the story is finding oneself. So, what did you think about this movie?
Yeah, I think that was definitely a very important aspect of this movie, was Po just really growing as an individual and realizing that he had more in himself than he ever realized. And I think what really helped him get to this point was finding his family and, really discovering that there was a place that he belongs. Like, he's not the only panda on this earth. He actually has a family. He has ancestors, he has aunts, uncles, panda bear cousins that he never knew existed in this whole other world. And I think that really kind of helped him to find his roots and really bring him back to what was important in his life and allow him to attempt to become a master of Qi.
So for the voice acting, it's got a lot of pretty good actors. The main bad guy, Kai, is voiced by J.K. Simmons, and Tigress is voiced by Angelina Jolie. So the voice acting itself is actually very good.
Jack Black, it's really, of course, his kind of humor, from like one of my all-time favorite movies, Nacho Libre, School of Rock. He always kind of brings that kind of funny, all around, anyone's gonna laugh at it type of humor. And, you totally see that in Kung Fu Panda 3. And then even when his dad coming, they kind of are able to bounce off each other and, use the same sense of humor. Really, it's the kind of movie that you're going to take your family to, and you're thinking, oh, I'm going to take my, kids to see this, but then the parents are laughing by the end of it. It's really just the kind of humor that you can't help but giggle to yourself.
A lot of movies nowadays, they have to succeed by having this humor that appeals to both kids and parents alike. Mm-hmm. And when I was watching Kung Fu Panda 2, I noticed that there was a lot of kid-only humor, but they actually improved a ton with that in the third movie. So that brand of humor was good, and it fit that sort of animation movie feel that you're gonna, the family feel that you were talking about.
Yeah, well, I'm an 8-year-old at heart, and I remember seeing the first movie at a birthday party in 5th grade, and I definitely laughed just as much as I did back then. Even if it wasn't a laugh out loud kind of laugh, I was smiling to myself and going okay, this is funny. Jack Black just can't help but just the sound of his voice makes you laugh. So, and I think it was really interesting, having Angelina Jolie and these other kind of big ticket actors in it as well. And, she obviously wasn't as essential of a part of the story. She was, not the humorous character. She had kind of this calm presence about her. But yeah, like you were saying, I think the voice acting really contributed to the story, yeah.
Okay, so the next thing is animation and the suspension of disbelief. And that's a big challenge for a lot of movies that aren't animated, especially fiction movies. But animation has the wonderful advantage of making your suspension of disbelief really, really high. And the creators of this movie, the animators, essentially everything about this movie took advantage of that animation to further the humor, to essentially work out all of these gags that you could only accomplish with animation. And I feel like that gave it kind of its own feel.
Oh yeah, it's so important that there are, these cute, fluffy pandas that are the deliverers of this humor. Like, if it was, an ugly animal that was cracking all these jokes and it wasn't this cute, fat panda that's rolling around on the ground and shoving dumplings into his face, I definitely would not have laughed as much. I was like, I want, a cute, fluffy panda to bring home and be my pet,
Disclaimer, please don't actually get a panda. They are bears and can be very dangerous.
They're so cute, I just want one. I just want to cuddle with it. It's that type of thing, like, that, kids and adults are once again going to enjoy. Everyone can find some sort of enjoyment from it.
Okay, so overall, what do you think? Did you like this movie overall?
I did like this movie. I honestly, I went into it going like, oh, Kung Fu Panda 3, like, I don't know, I haven't seen this type of movie in a long time. But, I'd say that overall the movie accomplished what it was trying to, made me laugh. It had, a theme to it, a theme of family, unity, finding yourself and becoming what you're meant to be.
I also liked this movie. I came into it expecting to be somewhat disappointed, having the genre not hit me as a target audience, not going to be able to make me laugh, because coming out of Kung Fu Panda 2 is just the writing just didn't make me laugh as much. It was kind of just a story that involved Po developing his inner peace, but Kung Fu Panda 2 did give the advantage of setting up for the third movie, which I would say is a lot better. They wrote the humor a lot better. They gave it a moral of the story. They gave it a pretty good story. The bad guy feels like he just didn't pop out of nowhere. He feels like, okay, maybe you could buy that. And so they gave everything essential to this movie to make it a pretty good movie. So
yeah,
what would you rate
I think there was a really nice sense of closure too. Like, I mean, there could be another Kung Fu Panda 4, but if there wasn't, I think that I would be totally satisfied. Yep, I think overall I would give this movie about 3.5 cougar paws, just because, I really like the story as a whole. I laughed, like I said. The message was great. It's a great movie to take your kids to, like, great moral.
All right, well, I'd have to say closer to 4, because while it was not a masterpiece, it improved upon what it was in the previous installment. And you don't always see animated movies that are really good and appeal to everyone. You see Pixar hitting great after great after great, but outside of those famous movies, the Kung Fu Panda movies are kind of on their own. So I'd be willing to give it a 4. Star Wars: The Force Awakens is the biggest film of all time for now.
Let's go out to Aijane on the street and see how Coog's lightsaber skills are.
My name is Aijane, and this is Wazzu on Film's Lightsaber Challenge. These are our contestants. What's your name?
Jordan. Jacob.
Celestina.
Jack.
Alex. Thank you to WSU Sith Lord and all our contestants. See you back in the studio.